Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's session. We're excited to be hosting us tonight. I'm sure you had enjoyed your time during the break that we had, where we had holidays to rest, to relax, and to refresh. Okay, please leave me a comment. Let me know if you are hearing me and how we are doing. If I'm very audible, let me know if I'm very audible at your end. Okay. Okay. Welcome to today's session. In today's session, we are going to look at a very wonderful thing as far as data analytics is concerned, which is using Power BI, which is a wonderful tool provided by Microsoft to be able to visualize our data and tell a story. Okay, so in today's case, I'm going to guide us through step by step on how we can use Power BI in order to analyze data and gain insights. So for today, the data we are going to use is an open source data set, which is the Adventure Works data set, which I'm going to share with us immediately after this class. So this is the data set. First of all, I want to open it in Microsoft Excel so that we see how the data looks like, what it looks like. Okay, so in this data set, it is made up of different information like the facts internet cells, which contains several other columns. Okay, and then we also have the products, information about the products here. Oops. We also have the sales territory. We have geography and other information. So today it is not Excel we are going to use to analyze this data, but we'll use a powerful tool which is called the Power BI. BI there means business intelligence. So that's the tool that we are going to use. So here it is on my system. I'll just have to open it up so that I can use it. I'm sure some of us may have downloaded the Power BI into your system, but if you have not, I will also drop a link that will help you to guide you download this Power BI into your own system so that you can use it. Okay, so Power BI, like I said, is a free tool which you can use for visualization. There are different, it has different types, which we are not going to cover in today's video. So when you open up your Power BI for the first time, this is what it's going to look like. It will ask whether you need a blank report or you want to get data from any source. Now, the important thing we have to know about Power BI is that we can always get data from so many sources in order to carry out our analysis. So for tonight, since it's a very brief session, I'll just guide you through on a few things that you can do using the Power BI. So I'll just go ahead and do the most important things, which is to load the data, transform it, and then load it into the Power BI, and then also use it to create visuals. Those are the things that we are going to do tonight. So I'll go ahead and click on blank report. So this is where I'll be working on my reports for tonight. So I'll click on blank reports. All this version information, I'm just going to go ahead and remove them. It will always show you this information whenever you open up your your Power BI. So this is how the Power BI interface looks like. In the middle here, we have the canvas. So this canvas is like where you are going to do all your work. It's like when you have a workbench or your workshop where you can carry out a lot of work. So that's what the canvas here is about. So we have different tabs just like we have in Excel, which we'll just be talking about them as we go along in this class. So we have the Home tab, for example, which includes a major place that we can get data. So from the get data, we have a drop down menu that contains different, so many data sources. I think about 96 data sources which you can get from, depending on what you are working on. So you can get data like from any source using Power BI. And then we also have other ones like Transform, which helps us to clean our data, which we are going to see how we are going to use it. But then when you come over here, we have visualization, the visualization pane here, which you can see so many types of charts that you can just click on, and then your analysis will start. Now, up here, you see that the data parts, there's no data because we have not loaded any data yet. So we can load data into it to carry out our analysis. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and get data first. Okay, on here we have four types of views here. So the first one is a report view. The second one is going to be the table view, where we'll see all our tables when we load them. And then we also have the modeling view, which after loading the data, we'll come back to look at how all these places will look different. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our data. So I'll go to get data here. I'll click on this drop down. Okay, I'll click on this drop down, and then I'll choose the data. The data that I want to use is an Excel file. Let me confirm that. This is okay, it's an Excel workbook. It's always important to confirm. So it's an Excel workbook. So if it was CSV, I would have used this to import it. So what I'm going to do now is to extract the data. So I'll go ahead and click on Excel workbook. And then that will take me directly to my system. And this is the file. I'll click on the file, and then it will preview it here for me, and then I'll click open. So once I click open, it's trying to connect the data for me, and it's going to preview it so that I decide what I want to do with it. So this navigator pane for the preview of the data will come up, where I will see all the tables that are inside the workbook. So we have customers, dates, we have geography, products, sales territory, and all of that. So I want all these tables. I'm going to go ahead and select all of them. As I'm selecting each of them, it will preview here. I'll keep selecting them until I select all of them that I want to use. So now you can see that from here we have one table here is a facts internet sales table, the facts table. Another table carries dimension dim before the name. So we are going to explain this using star schema when we get to our modeling later in tonight's class. So now if you notice, after I've selected these data points or data sets, so to speak, you would see that we have two options to load it or to transform it. Now, if you load it, it's going to take in this data directly into the Power BI interface so that we can start building visualizations. But as best practice, as a data analyst, you can never assume that your data is clean. So you must always transform your data at every point to make sure that the data is ready for your visualization. So what we are going to do now is to move on to transform. I'm going to click on transform here. Now, when I click on transform, it's taking me to the Power Query Editor. Now, Power Query Editor is an editor that allows us to transform our data. It's more like a click and drop thing. You don't need to write plenty of formulas or do anything in order to be able to in order to be able to clean your data, you can just click on something and a lot of changes are done to your data. So on this interface now, this is an engine that is built into Power BI, and it is also on your Excel. It is also in Excel. For those that would make it to the master's class, we'll teach you how to use a Power Query in Microsoft Excel. You see that the Microsoft Excel in your system is far, far more powerful than just a few things, if at all you even use it. Okay, so we have all these tables here. We have to make sure that all our tables are okay and ready for our analysis. So let me start with the first one, which is the customer table. Okay. And then you will see that we already have the quality of the data set up here to know how the data is performing in each of the cases, whether we have nulls and all of that. And that you can get it from the view option on this tab. So if you click on view, you can decide what you want to do. Like if I want to add profile, which will show up, or if I want to know the column distribution and the column quality, which are the informations that are showing down here. Okay, let's go back. So on this one, this is the customer. It has to do with customer information. So I'll go ahead to I want to select columns. So from this home tab, I'll go to choose columns, and I'll click on choose to choose the columns I'm going to need, because normally it is not all the columns that will be important in your analysis. So why do I need to remove this column? So that my data, my dashboard can load quickly instead of moving through hundreds of columns. It can just move through maybe 5, thereby reducing redundancy in my data. So the first thing I want to do is I want to deselect everything. Now, as a rule, anytime that you see any column that carries a key, please do not touch it. Do not touch any column that has a key, because if you do, it's going to punish you while you're analyzing your data. So I'll select all the keys because it's going to help in the data modeling. Now, since this is customer information, I'll select the first name, second, and last name of the customer. I can select the birth date so that we can send the customer happy birthday if needed. I don't need to know their number of children. I don't need their email for now. And then I may need their phone number. That's to call them. And I think that's all the information we need about the customers. So with that, I can click OK. Now, once I do that, you'll discover that every other column has been removed. Just the ones that I've selected are the ones remaining. So you see, now, if you look down the applied steps here, you will see that I have removed columns and it has reflected here. If I wanted to go back on that step I just took, I can just click on this X. So the next thing I'm noticing is that the 3 columns contains the customer's name, and this doesn't look good to me. So I want the customer's name to be just one column. So I would select the 3 columns, that is first name, middle name, and the last name. I'll press Control on my keyboard, select the second one, and select the third one. And then to rename this, to merge the columns, I'm going to right click. And when I right click, I come to where I have mesh columns. So I'm going to mesh all the columns. It's asking me the name, the separator, what is separating them, what is going to separate the names. So I want the name to be separated by a space. And then what should be the name of the column after I've created it? I'll call this customer names. The customer name. Okay, I'll click on OK. So once I've done that, you see that I have changed the customer name. The column for the customer name has been changed such that instead of having 3 names for each of the customers, we are having just 2. We're having just 2 for them. So this is how you clean your data. It's a process that you take time to do as a data analyst. So let's also look at this gender. This gender, we have, as we can see, M is representing male and F is representing female. So we can replace this M for male and then F for female and M for male with the full name. So I'll just click on this column and say replace. Oh yes, I'll say replace values. It's more like saying find and replace. So I want to find capital letter F and replace it with female. Now this one is case sensitive. It is case sensitive as you are cleaning. If you use small letter F, it may not find it. So once I do that, the one for female is done. And then let me go ahead and do the one for male. So I'll right click and then I'll go to replace values again. And then now this time around, I'm looking for M to replace it with male. Please follow along to replace it with male. All right. So you see that I've changed the male and the female correctly now. And for your information, this data that we have here is about a data of over 55,000 records. And we have just done those changes within few seconds. So that's the power of using this tool to analyze your data. Okay. So what's the next thing? Let's go to the date table and see if there's something we can do to it. The date table seems good already, just that we have some columns that are carrying, I think, Spanish and French names and all of that. So let's remove them. So we'll go to choose columns again. From the choose columns, you should know the process by now. We leave, like I always say, always leave all the keys. Don't touch any key. So we have day of the week. We don't need Spanish or French, anything. And then we have day of the year, English, name of month. We don't need French. We need calendar, quarter, month of everything English. I'm just going to select it and leave everything that looks like a different language out. So this French and Spanish name of whatever, I don't want them. So I've been able to remove them. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we have a good date here. Full date alternate key. Okay. Okay. So I think this is where we have a good date. This full date alternate key, which really shows the date properly. Okay. So we also have geography, which has to do with the location. This is like the locations that the shops are located in. Since this is a sales data set, so let's go and choose columns and see if there are columns that we would need. This is just a very minimal form of analysis we are doing. So I may not need this IP address, French country name, Spanish country name. Let me remove those ones. State, province name, country, region code. I do not need that code. Country, region name, and all of that. Province code, I do not need it. So let's just leave it like as that. And then let's see, we have English country region name. So we have Australia, Canada, and all of this. That means that this is the country. So I can just double click on this and rename it to country so that the name does not look confusing. And then state, province name, that should be the province. So I want to rename this to the province. All right, please follow along. Data cleaning is very important if your analysis must be okay. So it's something you can take time and do. I don't need this postal code, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. I'll just right click and then remove it. Okay. And let's go to the products and see what is in the products. First of all, I'll choose my columns for the products. Okay, like I said, always leave your keys because your keys will help you in your data modeling. English products, and I think that's the name of the products, and then I need the color. I could need the class. Okay, let me just put start and end date and status. Okay, so inside here I have the weight, which is almost blank, 3 distinct, unique. And then I have the English products name. I think this should be the product name. So I should remove the English. Product name. So why am I taking time to clean this data? So that I'm doing so that when I go to analyze this data using Power BI by building visuals, I will know exactly what I'm doing so that I will not get confused. So, okay, I now come to this column, this color column. I notice that there's something like NA that is not available, and we have black, silver, which just has to, that means this is the color of the product. So we can change this here by using that find and replace again. Go to replace values. We'll replace NA. We change it to maybe something like unspecified, because that's the product name. We cannot remove those information because the person that entered this data did not include those products name. Okay, product category key and other things. Let me just leave all the keys. Let's go to the sales territory. In the sales territory, we have to do with the location. Okay, so I'm just noticing a few things, like this column is a null, so I'll remove it because there's nothing in there. And then I have this last one that says NA all through, so I can just click on this funnel here to filter NA out. So I'll unselect NA and click OK. Okay, that's looking good so far. Now let's go to the main table that contains most things about our sales. Once we are done with this, we are moving straight to Power BI to continue with the other part of this training. So first of all, let's choose the column so that we don't end up cleaning columns that we do not need. So before this will be highlighted, you have to click on any column on this. So I'll click on choose column. Okay, so let's see. I have let me unselect everything. I have keys here. Please always let your keys be there. Promotion key, currency key, whatever key it is, just leave it. So we have revision of order number, sales line number, revision number, order quantity. Quantity is important. Unit sales is important. Total product cost and sales amount. Let's just add these dates to help us in our analysis too. Okay. Unit price times this. Okay. All right, so we have selected a few columns. So let's come over here and see what we can do here. This other quantity. So you notice that the sales amount here is going to be is supposed to be okay. Okay, let's just create some columns that will contain our sales as well as our, I think that will contains our sales and the profits. Okay, so you'll see that we have order quantity here and we have the unit price. So we can use this order quantity and multiply by the unit price to know our sales. Okay, so we are going to add column, and this case is going to be a custom column because it's going to be a calculation. So this custom column, I'm going to call it total sales. Total sales, which is going to be, now after that I'll come to where I have this equal to sign, and then the total sales is going to be the order quantity. I double click on it, then I use asterisk to multiply it. So I'm multiplying it by the unit price. That is, the unit price now is the price of 1 unit of the product. You multiply it by the quantity that the customer has ordered. So with that, I can click OK to create that new column. You see that the new column has come up here, which calculates, which takes this order quantity and multiplies it by this unit price. So another thing I want to know is the profit. So, all right, please drop a comment for me. I think I've really left us behind. I've forgotten about us, totally focusing on the on the editor. So please drop me a comment. Tell me that you're following. Tell me that you're understanding, and drop a question if you have one, please, for me. All right. So the next thing I'm just going to do now is I'm going to calculate my profit. Once I'm done with that, we are going to load the data and continue building our visuals. So I'm going to go to add columns again, and then I'll go to custom columns. So custom columns are our profit will now be the total sales now, and you will subtract that by from the by the what I think is supposed to be. Let me go back. One moment. Okay, yes, you subtract that from the total product cost. Okay. You subtract it from the total product cost. From the total product cost. Okay, let's go back and go and say we want to calculate our profits. Okay, so we say this should, no, not profit again. What we are okay, it's profit, which is going to our to be total sales. I double click on it and then I'll subtract it from total product cost. Okay, once I press on enter, okay, down here I can see my profits. Can see the profit for each of the goods that was sold. Okay, I think there's something I've not calculated. I would have, okay, total product costs. Okay, yeah, we are right. All right, so with that, we have been able to transform our data in a way that is suitable for analysis. Like I said, there's no way you can analyze data without transforming it first. You can never assume that your data is clean. Data has never been clean. In real life, data is always messy and you have to clean it up. Okay, so after that, once we are comfortable that we have cleaned our data enough, but you can always come back here. At least if you are comfortable, you have cleaned it enough to an extent, you will now have to load your data. Remember, first of all, we extracted the data. Now we have transformed it. We are going to load it. So to load your data, you come to home. From the home, you see where we say close and apply. So you click on this drop down menu, this small drop down arrow here, and then you choose the option of close and apply. If you apply alone, you will not close this editor. If you close it, that means everything that you were doing is lost. So you do close and apply, close and apply. So once I click on close and apply, it takes me back to my Power BI interface while the data is loading at the background. So all those changes I have done. Now keep an eye on this area. Remember, there was no data here before. So since I've loaded data in, it's going to bring in all the data and put it here for me. And then with that, I can start building my visualizations. Okay. Okay, thank you. I can see Akeno Shona I am following. And then Temitope is going well. Thank you very much. Thank you for being active. All right. So now remember that before now, we had come to this table view and there was no table. So if we click on it now, all those tables that we have loaded in are here. And it is only those columns that we have transformed that are available here. Example, if we go to date, if we go to geography, if we go to the products, it's just the things that we have brought in after our data cleaning that is available here. Okay, so everything is looking good so far. All right, so the next thing is to go to our model view. Now, model view is where we create relationships in our data to place it in a way that we can be able to filter from one table to another. Now, data modeling is beyond the scope of today's class, but it's something that we take time to do in our master's class. So it is important that you consider it. So in your data modeling, you are trying to create relationships between tables so that you can filter table data from all those tables. And the approach we are considering is a star schema. You know, it will be like a star, and like I said, we can't really explain much here, but I'll just create one relationship between this table that Power BI has not been able to detect a relationship. So as you can see, inside this table, no relationship is created because there is no um, there is no no column name that is corresponding with what we have on the fast internet sales table, which is the major table or any of the tables available here. So remember we spoke about this full alternate date key. So let's go to the table view and look at how the date table looks like so that we can see where we are going to connect. So this full alternate date key looks like a real date. It looks like a real date, although we can easily change the format of the date from here to look different. We can change it to any formats that we prefer from here. So let's assume that I want to change it to day, month, and year. But before I do that, let me go back to the facts table and see the order date because I want to connect it with the order date. I want to know the format of this order date. Okay. So this order date, this is the format that it is in. So it will be good if I make them to be in the same format. So if I want to make it to be, let's say, to be in the format of day, month, and year, like this one here, I can easily change it. And then I'll make sure that it reflects on the two tables that I'm creating the relationship so that there will be no discrepancies between them. Okay, so let me do the same for this one. I'm going to change the format of the date so that they can filter properly. I think it was day, month, and year. Am I correct? Okay, please, this is data analysis. There's no point rushing, because anything that you rush, you end up suffering for it. So it's important that we take time to do it well. Okay, yeah, it's formatted properly. So let's go back to our model view. So I want to create a relationship between the full alternate key and the order date. So I'll just click on the full date alternate key and then drag it to the order date. So once I do that, it previews the relationship between them. I can see that the two of them are dates which have the same format, and then I can save that relationship. So you see a connection is created between them. So if this connection is not created, that means that I cannot filter data from dates and use it down here. So it is important to do all these things before you start building your visuals. Okay, so the moments that we're always waiting for. Normally, you would think that when we talk about data visualization, you start building fine charts, you start designing, adding colors, but that's not what data analytics is about. The charts are important because as humans, we cannot understand numbers, figures, and sometimes words, but we understand pictures, images, animations, and stuff like that very well. That's why data visualization is important. But more than just building visualizations, it is important to make sure that your visualizations are correct and that they are telling the right stories. Okay, so the first thing we want to consider is, let's have some KPIs, at least two of them. For the KPIs, let me just use maybe two or three to demonstrate, and then we'll go to build a few charts and filters to work on interactivity. So let's go to, we want to know the profit, because the major story here is that we want to see the relationship between the profit and, okay, so all the profits are coming up. All right, that's good. That means we have to build measures. So now let's build some measures. So measures are like carrying out calculations. So for the measures, there are many ways you can do it, but in today's class, let's just do it in a simple way. I'll move to the modeling tab and then I go to new measure. Okay, so from the new measure, I'm going to write some DAX. So what I'm going to build here is the total profit. I'll build the total profit, the total sales. Okay, so the total profit here is going to be the sum. We use sum to add. And then you see different tables coming up here and the columns. So I can just decide to select, for example, I want to sum the fast internet sales profit. So if I do that, I've just created a measure, and then if I click on OK, that will create a measure for me for the total profit. So if we come here, we can see it. I think I created it in the wrong table. Okay, but I'll be careful when I create it again. So it's always good to highlight the table that you want to create a measure in. Okay, so the second measure that I want to create here is the total sales. First one was total profit. So I'll click on total, total sales is equal to, I'm going to do a sum. So sum of what? From the first internet sales, we have sales, total sales that we calculated earlier. So I'll press OK, and the measure is created in here for me. Okay, so the difference between a measure and other columns is that a measure will always have this calculator sign. So if I go to, I think it was a dimension, I don't even know where I created that measure at that time. That's why it's always good to create it in the table that you'll be using. Okay. Okay, I created it in customer. So I'm going to bring in this measure now to know my total profit. So I'll just drag it and drop it in the canvas. Just I've held down my left mouse and I'm dragging it around. I can drop it anywhere to have the okay, there's no data there. Let's see, let's use the other one. The total sales. Okay, so I think that's because we created it in the wrong table. I'm going to work on that quickly. So for example, the total sales now, I want to show it as a KPI card. Now, remember where we have all these our visualizations. So from here now, I can use a KPI card to show it. So I can use this one, for example. What is showing me is 1 trillion, showing me that the total sales here is 1 trillion. Okay. So I can adjust it. I can even change the kind of card I use for it. But I think this one is better. So I can just adjust it and keep it at one part here. And then I can build other KPIs. Okay, so let's assume, for example, I want to rebuild that total sales. But this time around, I want to be careful and I want to build it in the right table, which is the fast internet sales table. So I'll click on the table and then I'll come to new measures. And then I'll do total profit. This may not create because there's another one already. Is equals to, I'm just using very simple DAX here to sum, and then I select the right place, which is profit. Here's my profit. Like I said, it may not agree to create because there's another one. Yeah. So let me just add one to it so that I can just create it. I don't want to be going back and forth. So this is my profit one here. Can bring it up here. And let's see. Okay. The function of some cannot be used with values of type string. Oh, okay. Oh, that's serious. So let's go back to our table and see what happens to that profit. Let's go to the table view. Where is the profit? Which table am I? Okay, let's see the profit. What's happening to it? Okay, the profit is formatted as text. So this is one of the things that you should watch out when you're analyzing your data. So it is formatted as text. You can see from here. So we are going to change it. It's not supposed to be text. It's supposed to be um, it's supposed to be in terms of numbers. So we'll change the type. We'll change its data type. Oh, okay. What did I do? Um, Let me go back and come back here again. So I want to change this type. Can right click and oops. What is that type again? Okay, sorry, it is in this column tools. So I'll change the type to decimal. So as you can see, there are decimal numbers here. So I'll change it to decimal. Yes, I want to change the type to decimals. Okay, it's working on it. So now it has now been changed to decimal. And then let's go back and try to build that visualization again, if it's going to work. Um, it's still formatted as string. What's going on? Okay. I think I can use that to solve that problem. Or please let me just focus on cells, and then that's the other clean. I will clean it up and then I'll send in the information to you. So our total cells is 1 terabyte. Uh, is 1 trillion. And then let's go ahead and look at other things that we can do. Now let's look at maybe our order quantity. So this is the order quantity. I can just drag it and bring it to the canvas. So that's the total order quantity. I'll change it into a KPI. So we sold 1 trillion from 632,000 thousand sales. So we can also that profits. I can let me see. Try to bring in only the profits. So this is the profits. Let me summarize it. Okay. So let's just use these two KPIs first to explain something. Now we can build some charts easily. Let's say we want to look at sales by region, profits by region, sales by category, and all of that. So that is where Power BI becomes a superpower. So let's say, for example, I want to look at the total sales by region. So I'll bring in the total sales, and then you see that a well is created here, where the y-axis I have my total sales. So in the x-axis, I can decide to bring in something like from the geography table, I can bring in the province. Okay, so you see, once I did that, a chart is automatically generated for me. So I can, from here, change the type of charts that I want, because this is not clear and it is not even making sense. And we cannot even read the legend under here. So I'm going to change it to a different kind of chart, which is this other chart. I've changed it to clustered bar chart. So let's keep it somewhere. And let's assume that, for example, I just want to see the top 5 performing provinces. So that's where this filter comes in. So I can come to province here where I have this filter, and then it's asking me, we have the basic filter. If I click on this basic filter, I'll see the advanced filters. And then from the advanced filter, I can do a few other things from this filtering to better understand my data. Okay, um, so from here, okay, let me just bring in the province. I want to bring in the province for my filtering. And let's see if I can do a few things. Okay, let me use this top end here so that I can filter like the top 5, like I said. I filter the top 5 and I say okay. So adding the top 5, I can I'm asked to bring in the field here. of the province name. Okay. Or I can just add a province name and then I'll filter it. So you see, it's showing me the top 5 here, but the way this information is presented, since they are the first two are very, the difference is too much, it's not really make sense. So I'll just leave it as it was. That's why in analyzing data, you look at different options that are available to you. So if I don't want an option I've applied, I can go to this undo button and remove it. So far we can see that California is the best performing. Okay, let me make this screen bigger. California is the highest performing province here. So for example, if I want to filter out what is only happening in California, if I click on this chart on California, so just see what is happening within our KPIs. It automatically changes. So if I click on another one, it's changing that way. And if I click outside, everything comes back to normal. So that is our first chart, which shows our sales by region. So let me open up these ones. I'm still working on them. So you can change the title and everything about this. You can just click on any chart and then you come to where we have this handle brush. Then you can change things like if you want to put data labels on it, data labels will come up. If you want to have a zoom slider under it where you can zoom in and out of the data, you know, that slider can help you to see. For example, if you want maybe the top 5, you can use a slider to just reach your top 5 and then you can focus your analysis on them. So that's the importance of that slider there. You can also go to general where you can decide whether you want to have a title for it or you want to change the title. You can collapse it and let's call this total sales by region. Oops. Okay. So that is how we can analyze our data. So we can also go ahead to maybe add profit by region. So let's build that before we close for tonight. Okay, so let's bring in the profits, not the one we calculate, the profits. Where's our profit? I can type it here, profits. So the profit will come up. It is this one I'm looking for. I can bring it up here. And then I can segment it. There's my visuals. I can decide to do the profit by province too, so that I can compare between the profits and the profit in each of the regions. Okay. Okay. Let me use category in this case. Where's my category? Okay, so I have subcategory to summarize it. Although this is summarizing is very long, that doesn't make sense for me. All right, so we can actually do these visualizations in any way that you want. So the most important thing is you can use any of these stuff that is made available to us, and then we segment it. We segment it into any category that we want. Okay, so it is important that we know how this works so that we can use it to do our visualizations. Okay, so today we will just see how we can use Power BI to build visualizations. The best way to really know you have understood this is by taking time to practice it. So just use a data set, try to build something, tell a little story about your data. You may not bother your head too much about DAX and all of that, but you can build a simple visualization like this using your dashboard. So for example, if we want to look at maybe the sales and then we want to check whether we have male or female customers doing more business. So we can bring in our total sales and then we look at, we take our gender. Remember that gender column we had that time? So gender now, we can include the gender here to segment our cells by gender. And then we can choose a good graph for it, maybe like this donut chart here, to help us to know which segment do we have more customers, whether they are male or whether they are female. So your Power BI will help you to tell stories about your data, and it's always very, very simple to filter and to be able to filter information about your data. Okay, so before we close for tonight, because this is just this session is meant to just help you see what you can do with Power BI. It's not really about building dashboard or doing whatever. It's just to introduce you to what you can do with Power BI. Before we close, I want to take a few questions from us so that someone was saying I should slow down a bit. Oh, so sorry about that. Okay, I'm slow now. So let me take some questions from us. Let me take some questions so that we can take time to also practice what we have done. I'll send you the data set for you to also practice. So let me get your questions. Let me get your questions so that we can call it a night tonight and then refer towards other things. Okay. Please, I'm waiting for our questions. Let's take some questions, please. I'm waiting on your questions. Okay, so before we close tonight, today we were looking at how to analyze data with our using Power BI. We started by looking at the data on Excel to see how the data looks like, and then we now came to Power BI where we carried out data transformation, where we transformed the data using Power BI. So after transforming the data, we're able to load into Power BI, and we also looked at the different views. So we looked at our tables. We also looked at modeling, how to model the data before we start analysis. And after that, we're able to build a few visuals and also show how interactivity can be done using Power BI. Here we see the effect of selecting any part of the visuals on the KPIs. So this is a very simple way to analyze data using Power BI, and I'm sure we're able to learn a few things. So Temi, I was expecting a question from you since you said I should slow down. Probably you can get a question from you. And in terms of color, if you are someone that likes color, after designing this, you can just go to the view and look for a suitable theme to use for your visualization. Can use something like this. That will change the overview of the dashboard. Can use another one. So there are so many ways you can just change this dashboard just with a click of the mouse. So you should experiment on them and decide the ones that is most suitable for you. Okay. Okay, you're asking why. Okay, how do we get this Power BI? Okay, Power BI can be downloaded for free. I'll send you the link to download the Power BI. And in fact, I'll send a video too that you can use that will guide you on how to download the Power BI. Or very simply, you can just, if you're using Windows 11, you can just go to App Store, that is the apps. Just go to apps, and then from the apps, you search for Power BI, and then from the Power BI, from the Power BI, you can download it. But I'll send videos. Why is it important to select keys? It is important to select keys because it is a keys that will be used for data modeling. When you are modeling your data, your keys would be used for it. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for today's session. If you have any other question, please send it to the group. We're going to attend to it. And from here, I'm saying good night.